to do one of the lives before. I don't know if it was very successful because I did it for members only. It could be that absolutely no one came on the chat. That could be. But I was sort of worried that it's sort of like didn't work. But anyways, we are live. I can already see one little thumbs up. If you are here, then let me know that you're here in the comments. I would love to hear from you. The whole purpose of this live is to just create dialogue. Again, I tried to do this for members only. If you guys can also tell me in the comments if that worked or not, because I felt like I was just talking to myself, no one was here. I can see some of you guys are already here. Hi, peace, love, and happiness. I'm sorry, you did tell me your name before, and for some reason I forget, so don't be offended. Peace, love, and happiness. I am feeling better. For at least a week and a half, I was not well. I was not well, and I hate being sick, and I couldn't be in our Thanksgiving dinner with the rest of my family. I'm going to put you guys down here. There we go. So I don't have to hold you the whole time. But anyways, oh my gosh, hi! It makes me so happy to see you guys here. Again, I tried to make this, you guys can please comment down below because that actually helps me. I tried to make this for members only, and it's like, I knew you guys were sort of like waiting, but I didn't know why no one was there. So it could be that there was some kind of malfunction there, but either way, my suggestion is, because this is a live and people see that I'm from Israel, there are going to be a lot of people that are here for the wrong reasons. My focus today is not those people. So I'm not going to be reacting to them so much because my focus is actually you guys, my dear subscribers who I love so much and who I'm so grateful for. And John Boyd says, you look happy. I am happy because I'm talking with you guys. I wanted to upload a vlog that I sort of felt was sort of like, I don't know, maybe inadequate because it was sort of like I was in the middle of processing it and I wasn't fully sure how to convey what I was thinking. Maybe I'll regret it later and I'll just put it up for you guys anyways. But I'm so happy to see you guys here. Adele and Oz, hello. Oriel watched for ages. Oh, that's made me so happy. And Jill James and David Little. Scott, okay. Why don't I have any ads in my videos, Anna says. Actually, I am monetized, but because, so I've been trying, the way it works with monetization is there's like a few like criteria. So you have to have over 1,000 subscribers, you have to have over 4,000 hours of watch time, and you have to sort of like connect a website to your YouTube. When you have all those things, they're supposed to send you like a code, like a 4-number code or something to an address of your choosing. And I have literally given them so many different addresses and none of them have arrived. So technically I am monetized. I'm not making any money off of YouTube. But that's the reason why I don't have ads anymore. I don't know if I don't know if I can change that easily, but it's not so much of a concern of mine anymore. I used to be very sort of like bothered by it because I worked so hard to get monetized, but I'm, you know, at some point it's like, okay, what's the purpose of this YouTube? And the purpose of this YouTube is to connect with you guys and to just show my life here in Israel as a Messianic Jew, and so that's what I'm doing. So I'm just focusing on the things that are already on my plate. So I am doing that. Orlando says, I hope that you get more subscribers on your channel. You know what? That'll be nice. Anyone is welcome. Anyone who is, you know, wanting to and is peaceful is welcome on this channel. And the cat lady says, I wonder how old you are. You look to me like my age or less, 30 to 33, and it's okay to ask. Yeah, it's absolutely okay to ask. I'm 33 and a half. I am single, and that's probably the reason why I look young. It's because I don't have anyone driving me crazy. No, I'm kidding. I'm sure it'll be a blessing. But yeah, I'm 33 and a half, and that is me. right now. Hi, Benevolence. I know you very well. We are with you by heart. You absolutely are, and I love you guys so much. Also, I'm really sorry for those of you guys that sometimes you talk to me on Instagram that I don't always get the chance to say hi. I'm saying hi to you now. Um, Someone said, John Boyd says, I enjoy your historical sites reporting. You know what? Me too. I actually really enjoy it. One of the things that I have been wanting to do for a while is to sort of travel for my work or see interesting places for my work. And if you guys don't know, so I'm a freelance worker, so I'm a writer. I create video content, and I'm a journalist or reporter. And so I work with All Israel News. If you guys want, you can go to their website and their YouTube, and you can find so many great, wonderful reporters that they go to places, they show things, they report things. And one of the things that I do that was offered to me was a thing called, or maybe a series called All Israel Gems. And in All Israel Gems, I basically go to all these different places in Israel, and I show the places, just, the archaeology, the history behind it, the biblical history behind it, places that are like thousands of years old. And I find it a real privilege. I find it really interesting. I'm definitely not an expert in anything, and so it's really cool to go to places and hear from experts, what they found and what periods they belong to and stuff like that. And so Jack B. Santoro says, I'll make Aliyah. I finally made up my mind. That is very cool, Jack B. Santoro. I remember when I don't know if I can say made Aliyah, because, so for those of you who don't know, to make Aliyah is basically, it's like to ascend, or basically to immigrate back to Israel. And so my mother is a Sabra, which is basically what we would call someone who was born and raised here. My dad was American. And so they got married, had their first 4 children in the States, and then the 2 last ones here. And so coming to Israel, like, it didn't feel like I wasn't connected to the place as if we didn't have any roots here at all, in that sense. When I say roots, as in like my childhood wasn't here. My mom's was. She was born here and raised here and all the things. And so, coming back for my mom, that was of course just coming home. But for me, it was discovering my second home of my heritage. So that was a very interesting process. So I commend you, Jack B. Santoro, because that's not an easy decision to make. I'm sure, well, I'm not sure, but I'm assuming a lot of people live in a lot of very comfortable places in the world, and Israel isn't necessarily one of them. Israel is very, I would say it's a pretty tough place to live, and you sort of have to you have to choose to be very brave if you want to live here. I think you have to choose to be uncomfortable, and so I wish you all the best with your Aliyah process. It takes a lot to make Aliyah, and I hope that you find everything that you're looking for, and that you live in the place that is good for you, and you're very, very brave. I commend you. Benevolence says, Jesus has a plan for you. Never forget how much he loves you. Never mind about them bad comments. They don't even know Jesus. Let's pray for them. Yeah, thank you so much for the encouragement. As I said before, I tried to make this live just for subscribers only. I don't know why it didn't work, so I just went back to this one. But my focus really isn't on those comments today. And for those of you guys who want to maybe defend or, I don't know, defend my reputation, honestly, I love you guys so much, but I'm really not bothered by these comments. I always bless people that are against me. And everyone is allowed and entitled to their opinion. But I really just want to focus on you guys, getting to know each other, hearing your comments. So someone says here, I am Hindu Zionist. Radha Siam, I'm sorry if I'm not saying your name right. I am Hindu Zionist. We, 1-2 billion Hindu, love Israel. That is so encouraging to know. And you probably know, Radha, just how much people don't understand what Zionism is. It's insane how much a word can be hijacked to mean something completely different than what it actually is. And I think a lot of people, they've probably never even met a person who would consider themselves to be a Zionist, to know what that means. They just take what, the twisted definition of what they think that is, and then they just run with it. So I think it's very unfortunate. But a Zionist basically means a person who believes that Jews have a right to their ancestral homeland. And that's basically it. The fact that they've demonized that word is nothing more than just a blood libel. And so I'm happy so much to hear that there's a lot of Hindus that love Israel, and it's super, super encouraging. Actually, a lot of the people that I get on Instagram and on YouTube, a lot of them are from India or Pakistan, and it's super, super encouraging. Someone says, oh, Disabled Vet 2006 says, hi, Oriel, finally made it to see you live. I'm so happy that you are here. It's really wonderful to have you here. I see your comments all the time, and I'm very, very appreciative. Someone says, Liam Kareoff says, I'm going to Israel this summer. That's really good. You chose quite a time to come, because the summers here are very hot. I don't know where you're from, Liam, but it's hot here. So I don't know if you're coming as your first time or a tourist or not so much, but come expecting it to be very hot. A lot of people, they come and they hate the heat, and I understand it. I live in a desert. Actually, I think either over 60 or 70% of Israel is desert land. What's cool about Israel is that you can go from like north to south, and it's because the weather is like completely different from north to south, and you can drive about, I think it takes 9 hours to drive from one point to the bottoms, from north to south. And so in up north, you can have, the Hermon, which is like, it can be snowy in the winter and very, very cold and windy and rainy. And then down in Eilat, it's just, dry desert heat. And so you have a bit of everything in Israel. Liam says, my sister and grandma live in Israel. Okay, so I'm assuming that you've probably been here a few times. Yeah, it's cool to see people being able to visit despite, how it can be dangerous here, right? I wouldn't recommend everyone to come here for no reason. But for the most part, it can be normal. The cat lady says, if it's your first time, just bring a huge ice cube along and go everywhere with it. Will last an hour. It's probably true. I actually, not that this matters that much, but my preference is, because there's different types of heat, I live in like a dry desert heat, and I so much prefer it than like humidity heat like you have on the coast. So like if you go to Tel Aviv, within 2 seconds your hair will be frizzled and get curly, and everything feels sticky, and I don't like that type of heat. I so much prefer just dry desert heat. I can deal with that. I just don't like the mugginess of like being on the coast. So I think everyone just has like their preferences. And again, for the people here that are commenting in bad ways, don't mind them. I'm literally here for the subscribers that are on this channel that care. I as a person of faith, I'm a Messianic Jew. I bless them. I don't mind them. And I think also for a lot of them, they've probably never even met a Jew in their lives. And it would be so much more beneficial for them to actually have a conversation than just to accuse. But that's, I guess, up to them. Is it hot in March? Me and my cousin are coming to Tel Aviv to shoot documentaries. March is sort of what we would call spring here. It's sort of like in between. So the thing is, in the spring, you can it'll become like comfortable during the day, and then during the night it'll become cold. So you think, it's like, oh, it's a nice warm day, whatever, and then in the evening it's cold. So, it's a bit like that. But also Tel Aviv is a bit of a different story. So I would say for Tel Aviv, sort of, dress for both. It's not quite winter, but it's also not completely spring, and not completely hot. So I would say if you're shooting documentaries in Tel Aviv, just come prepared for both. Let's see. Hi, Stefan Van Manen. I am so happy every single time you comment. Uh, you're the absolute best. Thank you so much for being here. Honestly, every single time I see one of your comments, they're so positive and so uplifting, and it just makes me so happy to know that you're on this channel. Really, truly. Here it says, talking about the humid versus dry heat, kinda like East Texas being green and sticky versus West Texas being brown and dry. Honestly, I used to live in Texas when I was a kid, and I also lived there as an adult for like a year, but I don't know that I've been around like enough areas in Texas to know. I guess, you're just telling us how it is now. But I used to live like near the Dallas area, and so it would get sort of sticky and muggy and gross in different ways. What I liked about Texas was actually even during the summer there would be like rainstorms and thunderstorms. Gosh, I would love that. Actually, that's something that I miss about the States, because here it's like, at least in my area, we don't really get that much. We don't get a lot of rain, and when we do have thunderstorms, it's like, I don't know. I think it's spectacular. It's very dramatic, and to see it in the sky, and just the vibes of like, the rain falling and seeing the whole sky light up with light. It's like, I don't know. I'm a bit of a dramatic creature, so maybe that's why I like it. Have I ever been in Florida? Absolutely, I have. Yes, many, many times. One, because my grandparents would live in Florida. My aunt lives in Florida now, and just different friends in Florida. So I've been in Florida. Similar-ish people to Texas. Probably there's a bit more, how do you say, snowbirds, like New Yorkers there. So maybe that's sort of a bit of a difference in the population of the people. But as far as like, I love Florida. I love the beaches, and all the palm trees. Also there you have quite dramatic weather. But yeah, I think if I would move back to the States, I'd probably either move back to Texas or to Florida. I would stay there. Actually, I sort of lived in Florida for a few months when I was about 25. I moved basically to my aunt's house, and I was there with her for a while, and that was really cool to sort of live with my aunt, because she lived in the States and I didn't get to see her that often, so that was a very cool experience. My sister came down sort of for 2 weeks or something like that, and we had fun. So yeah, let's see. Someone again asked how old I am. I am 33 and a half. And someone says, John David Brycer says, good morning from Mississippi. Hi, I've been in Mississippi. I've actually been in quite a lot of states in the States. I'm trying to think. I wish I would remember all of them. So my dad, and occasionally my mom also, he would go to different churches and preach. So I'm a Messianic Jew. My dad would go to the States and teach about Israel. And so I've been quite a lot in the States in different places. I'm trying to think if there, if I remember. I liked Vermont, I think. It was a very, very beautiful place. I remember being in Ohio quite a lot. So I was born in Ohio, but I never lived there. I only visited. And I remember just it being so flat. Just being flat. And I mean, wonderful, wonderful people. But it's very different than Israel, I think, because Israel is very like mountainous and hills and stuff like that. And I remember I was always trying to find like high ground or something, like to see a view from the top or something. And it was just sort of like fields. And I mean, it's a great place. I mean, the States needs Ohio for all the different reasons it needs Ohio. But yeah. I remember going to, I think it's called Mount Rainier in Washington State. Wow. I don't know if one of you guys have been to Washington State, but it is stunning. I don't know if I could deal with the weather being so cold and rainy all the time. I'm sure it's stunning in the summer. But yeah, we went to Mount Rainier. I stayed on, what was it called? Puget Sound? Yeah, Puget Sound. And actually, it was part of part of a project called Musalaha. So Musalaha in Arabic is reconciliation. In Hebrew, we say sulha. Um, and it comes from also like the word slicha in Hebrew is like forgiveness. And the whole purpose of this project was to take Christian Arabs, Messianic Jews, and Christians, so from like a third party, so like it could be Norway, it could be from the States, and we would meet in neutral places, so like not in Israel, so like the States or Norway or I don't know, maybe Sweden, stuff like that, and we would go through this journey together of basically getting to know each other, getting to know the other side, and having peace with each other. And then we would go on the second part of the trip, like maybe, I don't know, a few months later or something, to Jordan, to Wadi Ram, which is also stunning. If you guys have ever watched The Martian with Matt Damon, that is where they shot The Martian. It's stunning. It's like the most beautiful desert. It's very, very orange and very, it looks sort of otherworldly. Like the shapes of the mountains are very like cool. And so I actually really liked that project because it was very, I don't know how it is today, but I think for a lot of people it was the first time for them sort of like actually meeting and talking with quote unquote the other side. Because oftentimes you don't get that. Like we live together in the same country, we mingle, we work together, we study together, we everything together, and yet to actually create a friendship where you look each other in the eyes and you talk about your joys and pains and hopes and dreams and stuff like that, you don't necessarily have the opportunity to always do that in life. And so Musalaha, this project, gave the opportunity for people to do that. And I for one, was very appreciative of the opportunity to be able to do that. I've lost contact with basically almost all but one. His name is Louis. He's a Christian Arab from like around Jerusalem. Wonderful guy. We're not in contact all the time, but he's great. So yeah, that's sort of Musalaha. I don't know how. Oh, I started talking about that because of Washington State. So yeah, there's a lot that people do to try and connect with each other in that way, and so that was one of them. Someone is asking, are you religious? So I know when people ask, are you religious, sometimes the word religion comes with a bad connotation, even though I don't mind the word religion so much. But I would say that I'm a person of faith. I'm a Messianic Jew, so I'm a Jew who believes in Jesus, in Yeshua, just like the first disciples in the New Testament. I don't want that to deter anyone from joining like this YouTube channel or this chat, because honestly, you can be from anywhere, of any religion, of any background, and you're welcomed here as long as you're a person of peace. And that's also what I enjoy, because sometimes I what was I saying? I'm sort of reading the comments and also trying to focus. But sometimes I'll speak about my faith, and I just want that to be like a normal thing, because if I was sitting, if I was working somewhere and I was sitting at the cafeteria table with my coworkers, you would have just an array of different people. And I think that the world is a beautiful place when we can all sit together and show our different beliefs, religious beliefs, spirituality, faith-wise. And I'm very open. If you guys want to ask questions about my faith, I'm very willing to answer. So yeah, I would consider myself a Messianic Jew. So my mom is actually, on my mother's side, I'm the fourth generation of Messianic Jews since the Holocaust. So my great-grandparents came to faith in Yeshua, who I believe is the Messiah, when the story behind this is actually really amazing. So they came from Romania, escaping after the Holocaust, which my great-grandfather survived after being, he had medical like experiments done on him because he was an athlete, like a very strong athlete. He was a runner. And so they took him and did experiments on him, which caused him to become, permanently disabled in some ways. So he always walked with a cane, always with a limp, different bodily, like aches and pains and stuff like that, and also just mentally. That's a trauma that I don't know if you can ever get over it quite truly, but he became a very, very harsh man. We'll just say it that way. My great grandmother and my grandmother survived because my grandmother was at work while my great grandfather was taken by force from their house. But they didn't find my grandmother, who was like in a cot behind like a door. They didn't see that she was there. And so when she came back from work, she, discovered that her well, they weren't married actually then, but let's just call it for the sake of it, her husband was taken. And the neighbor that heard the baby cry took the baby into the house so that she can like protect her. Eventually what happened is that my great grandmother took my grandmother and hid in the basement of the wealthy woman that she was working for as like a maid or a housekeeper. That's the only reason I'm here. The only reason why my grandmother survived is because they hid in that basement. And so after the war, my great grandfather survived. They reconnected and came to Israel. They were actually caught on one of the boats coming, and so they were in a refugee camp in Cyprus until they were allowed to come to Israel. And when they came here, my great grandfather had like a little shop of like electronics, like fixing electronics and radios and watches and stuff like that. And this man comes in from Romania. He was a Christian. I don't think he was Jewish at all. And he had a list of people that he was searching for that were part of his church. Now, when Hebrew is our common language, which is a language that's literally thousands of years old, but because we were all scattered after we were exiled 2,000 years ago, then not everyone spoke each other's languages. And so in Europe you have all these different languages, and he only spoke Romanian, and so a lot of people didn't speak each other's languages until the language was revived. And so he basically comes to his shop and he gives him this list and is like, do you know these people? And he says, well, no, but I can help you find them. And so basically through that they came to faith in Yeshua as Messianic Jews. And then so since then my grandmother was a Messianic Jew, my mother, and then myself. My mother married a Christian, if you will, spirit-filled or charismatic or from a Catholic background. And then you come to me, a person of faith that has sort of that heritage from both sides. And that's sort of the story of my faith from those generations. But I think that faith is like, I think it's something that you have to choose for yourself, I think that you can grow up in a certain type of faith, but if you don't choose to believe it yourself, there's really not much to be done there. I think that then it really does become just a religion. And I, for the longest time, did not believe that God loved me at all, for all these different types of reasons. That'll probably be a story for another day, but I think it took me a lot of time to get to the point where I believed him for who he presented himself to be in my own life, and not just someone who is taught in a congregation or in a church or in that type of faith-like setting. So yeah, that's sort of the background of my faith. Someone says here, I don't know what happened before, but someone says, the Top Cat says, no, she's a Jew who follows Yeshua. I don't know if someone is saying something like, is she a Christian? So I don't know, I'll answer my own question even if it wasn't something that was asked in the comments. So a Messianic Jew is a Jew who believes in Yeshua, in Jesus. So you can actually track down the lineage of Yeshua. If you look at the first chapters of the New Testament, you can see the lineage that goes all the way to Adam. And so it's it's a very, very long heritage, let's just say that. But a lot of people, I think, get confused by calling you, let's just say, a Christian, because they don't know that Messianic Jews exist. So a Messianic Jew is basically just like the first disciples that were Jewish. A lot of Christians, if you will, they don't necessarily keep So I believe that there's different covenants for different nations. That's one thing according to the Bible and Old Testament and New Testament. But they don't necessarily, they're not Jewish Christians, right? So they don't necessarily keep the holidays as we would according to our faith and our traditions. And so in that way we are different, but in our faith we believe in the same God. I just believe that God has different destinies for different nations, according to his will to present who he is on earth. I believe that we're all equal in the sense of God loves us all, believers and non-believers. But I do believe that there are different roles for each nation, if you will. So Hamza says here, different nations, Jews, Christian faith. Yeah, it's the same faith, if you will, but different nations. Cherry 94 asked, do you believe in the pre-tribulation rapture? That's a really big question that I still don't know how to answer. I just try to live my life as if I will be raptured tomorrow. I try to live my life as if God asked me to give an account for my life today, that I would be ready for it. Let's just say that, because until God wants me to leave this earth, I'm still here and I still have a fighting chance to do good in it. And I think that's sort of my agenda, if you will. Someone here says, Earth is beautiful. Creation is marvelous. Israel is a wonderful country. Thank you, Lord, because we have many sisters and brothers all over the world. You know what? That's very true, and that's very encouraging, because I think that a faith that unites in loving ways, which I believe is what Christianity and Messianic Judaism is. I think that you can literally go anywhere in the world and there is just so much support, because what unites us isn't necessarily our common history, because we're all from different nations, but our common God. And I think that that's a very beautiful thing. And I also think it's a very beautiful thing when you don't have a common God and you can still do that. There are many religions in this world that want to do good and to be kind, and I think that that's a beautiful thing, that we can unite on the basis of those things. And I'd like to think that that any person can be that way, even if they're not from the same religion. And that's why I say to all of you here, even if you're not a Messianic Jew or a Christian, my channel speaks to everyone, and so you're definitely welcome here. Let's see. Renee Arculi. Hi, Renee. Says, I felt such an amazing positivity amongst the people when I've been in Israel. Yeah, Israelis are, we have our strengths and our weaknesses, for sure. I would say that we're very hospitable people. I would say that Arabs are actually way more hospitable than us, actually. I think that Arabs have that in their culture ingrained, like, to the T, which is quite amazing. But yeah, I think Israelis they can be very warm, they can be hot-tempered, they can be generous. Yeah, we're a whole bunch of everything, right? I think every nation has their strengths and weaknesses. Paul Frost says, I would love to come to Israel, and I know one day you will with Jesus. Yes, absolutely you will. I think a lot of people are deterred from coming here because of the war. And I understand. I mean, if you travel here, as far as airlines go, I think about the fact that there's just so many cancellations. And so what you might have to do is you would have to come with El Al, which is Israel's airlines. The security is much more there's a lot more scrutiny there, and so you have to sort of prepare yourself for that. But as far as knowing that your flight won't be canceled, then that's probably the better option. So yeah. Hi, Carolyn. Carolyn or Caroline? It's probably Carolyn because it's not with an E. Good morning to you too. I'm really happy that you're here. And then Dorothy. Oh, hi, Dorothy. I'm so happy that you're here. Dorothy is from Canada. Yeah, I'm so happy when I see familiar faces, if you will, or familiar, like all of your names. And I'm sorry if some of you guys have names that aren't your actual names, that are like a YouTube name. I'm still grateful for you being here. I don't remember all of your names, so you'll have to forgive me. But there's someone here from India, which I'm so happy about. I've never been to India. My sister has been to India. And I've had a lot of friends that have either gone to like treks in India, or served there, which is really cool. The top cat. I'm actually Tracy. Tracy, I'll try to remember that. If I don't remember, it's not your fault. My memory isn't the best. Esther Sonia says hello from Netanya. That makes me really happy. Actually, I never know who is here from Israel, or who like is here from people that I know from Israel. It's super exciting to me to know that someone is watching me locally, because I just, you don't know unless someone comments or says like, hey, I've been watching your channel. It's just so encouraging to me. So that's cool. Anna Unknown says, what are the ceremonies like in a Messianic synagogue church? Do you practice male circumcision? So we would call them congregations. So a synagogue is I don't know if some Messianic Jews call it a synagogue. Probably not. So a synagogue is probably more associated with just religious Jews that believe in Judaism. And we are Messianic Jews that believe in Judaism, but probably sort of different than them. Do we believe in male circumcision? Absolutely. Circumcision actually comes from Abraham. And so we circumcise our newborn males at 8 days. And that's actually a little fun fact here, is that we actually give them their names on the 8th. So if you have a male born to you in your family, you'll have a circumcision ceremony, which is basically, you guys can search it up in the Old Testament. It's basically a covenant that God makes with his people. And that is the sign of that covenant that you make in your own body. And so in Israel, you'll have a ceremony in which you invite, your family and your friends and a rabbi that is, of course, able to do this circumcision, and you give them their name on the spot. And so that's a really beautiful thing, because you're giving them their identity as well. And so that's a really, that's sort of a fun fact from Israel. Lynn says, I realize you stay away from politics, and that's great for your mental health. I'm curious, how do you feel? Anxious, cautious, happy, excited about our election results in the U.S.? It's true. I do actually stay away from politics, which is sort of funny to say, because technically as a freelancer, I work with different clients, and one of them is a news outlet called All Israel News. And I am a correspondent, so I do report some of the news, but I'm not actually super, it's not that I'm not interested in news, like I keep up to tabs with everything that I can, but it's not like my main thing at all, like as a reporter, as a journalist. My main thing is actually stories, like stories of people, stories of heroes. That's something that I'm really interested about, is to discover what a hero is, what makes them a hero, and sort of try and discover what courage is by that. And so there'll be a few interviews that'll come out hopefully soon-ish on All Israel News with heroes of different types of sorts. As far as do I feel cautious, I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that. I've lived in Israel since I'm 9, and I'm 33 and a half now. And I've lived through the Second Intifada, and I've lived through all these different types of wars. I've never fought in any of them, because I'm not a soldier, and I've never been a soldier. But I think that, you're as cautious as anyone else would be. I think for not of the grace of God in the IDF, then no one would be safe. Israel would be completely demolished. As far as the U.S. election, I personally think that Trump is a better fit for Israel than I think Kamala would be. But again, I'm not so much into politics. Uh, it's really not the main thing on my channel at all. My main thing is just to show things as they are in an unbiased way. So the good, bad, and the ugly. So that's sort of what I think about, that. Um, let's see. So someone who says here, have you ever joined the IDF? I haven't. So some of my background is that I dealt with a lot of tough things in my childhood that caused a lot of trauma. And so I wasn't a very functioning human being at that age. So you get drafted around like 17-ish, 18. Depends on like your birth date and when you finish high school. And at that point in time, I was dealing with a lot of phobias. So phobias from people and phobias from blushing. And so I wasn't going anywhere. I was full of fear. That was my life. And I couldn't contribute to anyone. And I do often think sort of how, like, what would I do in the army if I was drafted? And also, like, your skill set, it changes, between the ages of 17 until 33, let's just say till now in life. And I wonder if I had the skill sets that I have now, then what I would do, or what I would do back then if I was just a healthy human being. There was an element of shame that I carried for a while that I didn't serve in the army, because you want to help defend your country from its enemies. And so that was a thing that I sort of felt shame about for a while. But I realized that, not all of us have the same story, and I can serve my country in this way. And so that's what I try to do. I try to show people what Israel is like today. So, yeah, that's sort of the story of why I didn't go to the IDF. I'm not against it, but it wouldn't really help me now to try and serve in the IDF, because I think once you have a background of like difficulties with your mental health, then your, what we would call your profile, like your army profile, it goes down. So I don't know. I don't think I would be drafted to anything way too special or helpful. I'd probably just be, I don't know, administrative at best, which is something that I try to avoid now like the plague. I think I've done way too much admin in my life to enjoy it. I much more enjoy the creativity of being a journalist and creating, videos and writing articles and stuff like that. You would have been a chef or public affairs. That's from Disabled Vet. You know what? I'll believe you. You have more background in the IDF or in the army than I do. I don't know if I'd be good enough to be a chef, but maybe public affairs. Maybe nowadays that would help. So yeah. Paul Frost says, I love live broadcast you're thousands of miles away, yet live in my room on the phone. So cool. For me, it's so cool, Paul Frost. I see your comments every time, and I'm very happy. Someone asked me if I'm married. I'm not. I'm not married, but I would love to be one day. Sort of feel like there's not a lot of options. And I've spoken about this in the channel quite a lot, that you get to a certain age and you just don't understand why life is the way that it is. So the situation here within the people of the same faith of mine, because I want to marry within my own faith, and that doesn't matter to me if they're a Messianic Jew or Christian, as long as they believe in Yeshua. There's just not a lot in Israel, and so it's quite a problem for myself and women over their 30s, that it's hard to find. There's just not a lot of options. There are Christians that come from abroad, and so a lot of people do marry Gentiles, if you will. So a Gentile is someone who's just not a Jew, but that just hasn't happened for me yet. So you praying people can pray that happens, but yeah, definitely not married, but would love to be. Trying to scroll down to your newer comments. Someone says you can't find a handsome man in Israel. Maybe you should step outside sometimes. You know what? I lived in the States for like a year and something, and I was really trying. Like when I tell you trying, like I tried to create community and meet like new friends and go to different like groups, and it was just literally nothing. And it's not about being picky. It's just like there wasn't anyone. It was very it's very disillusioning. Very disillusioning. But yeah, I don't know. It's a subject that I'm just as lost, you know. And I'm sure also that like it's not just me. There's I don't know. I think it even becomes oh hi Bunny. Do you guys want to see Bunny? Oh, cappuccino. Bunny, you want to sit with me? Cupper, sit with me. Come on, come sit with me. Did you guys see Bunny? Do you want to sit with me, Bunny? He hasn't been on the channel for a while because there hasn't been the opportunity. But he is still definitely my little companion. Cupper snack? Oh, did you guys hear that? Cupper snack? Okay, let's give him a snack. Okay. I will... Come on. Come on. Here he comes, everyone that's been missing Bunny. Come on. I'm trying to make him like a dog. Oh, there he is. Yay! He is just so freaking cute. I love... So his name is Buttercup, for those of you who are like new here, but I don't call him Buttercup anymore. I think I've called him like every single name but Buttercup in the last like, I don't know, 3 years. Come on. Cupper snack? Come on. Snack. There he is. Ah. He is so cute. Cupper Bunny. He's really cute. Anyways, he's been sitting quietly behind me. I'm gonna give him more snacks because he's been so nice today. I'm just absolutely in love with this cat. If you guys know, like if you guys have pets, you know how it is. He's just a little, he's my little companion. I don't even remember what I was talking about, but someone says you can't stay single your whole life. I hope so. I hope I don't. Yeah, I hope I don't. But I don't know what I was talking about before, but I think since the war, it becomes even more difficult to find someone because I don't know of many people that are willing to live here. So yeah, it became even more like you feel like your chances sort of like even narrowed down. But Ivana says everything in its own time. You're absolutely right. I think that's one of the things I think that's really difficult is just to understand that even though it's not in my timing, it doesn't mean it won't happen. But you know, there's a lot of women here on this channel that could probably understand just how difficult it is, especially when you want to have a family already and have children. And the longer you go in your 20s and 30s and that doesn't happen, it can become very discouraging. And so I have to make a really big effort to consciously look at my life and realize that I have a lot of blessings in it, and my life is very rich in experience and rich in people and rich in love, and to just do my best to not let that one part, which is a huge part, sort of get to me to the point where I feel just depressed about it, because it's very easy. Maybe some of you guys can attest to that. John Boyce says, volunteer at a hospital, meet soldiers. If they're a Messianic Jew, I'm willing to meet them. But yeah, that's just sort of my thought on that. Renee says, I had my kids in my 30s. I know it will happen to you. For you. Thank you, Renee. I really hope that you are right. Yeah. I don't know, life doesn't always go as you expect, but I'm just trying to keep positive. Stay open to someone Jewish who is obviously open to marrying a Messianic Jew. You know what? I think that probably won't work for me, because I can't see myself marrying someone from a different religion. It doesn't mean that there's not wonderful, nice people. And it doesn't mean that every Messianic Jew is perfect, but I feel like I need someone who can walk the same life as me. Especially when you start having children, I think it becomes more difficult, because even if they accept your faith, I think um, I think it wouldn't be equal, in terms of the way that we do life together. And so for me, it would have to be a Messianic Jew. Um, so that's just sort of my take on that. Let's see. Go to the gym, meet dudes. You're like a bit overweight. It's probably true. I'm sure that was intended as an insult, but it doesn't bother me. Um, yeah, I'd love to get back in shape. Let's see. Someone says here, Joshi Angels, Homeless Outreach, Illinois. That's cool that you have a homeless outreach. It says, blessings, sweet sister. Blessings to you too. That's wonderful that you have a homeless outreach. That's very, very needed in this world, unfortunately. Disabled Vet says, yes, you should stay with Messianic Jews so you could be equally yoked. Yeah, I agree. I think that's really important. On the Way says, no, absolutely not. Oriel is not overweight. I mean, it's not a curse. It's okay if I am overweight, but like, it doesn't bother me. Do they not have their own dating sites? So that's actually interesting. So like, there's Christian dating sites, and I think that they sort of tried to do like a Messianic dating site, and there's been different endeavors to try and make that happen, like like different meetings and brunches and hiking trips and stuff like that. And I've been to some. Didn't find anyone. It does become sort of discouraging if you try to go every single time and you feel like there's no connection there. At some point you just sort of have to choose your battles. Like, do I want to go every single time? Because eventually it could come out of the blue and I can meet someone anywhere, right? Like, that's sort of my thought behind it, as long as I'm trying. As long as I'm making myself available and putting myself out there in some kind of way, I think that that's important. Let's see. I love how everyone is talking about my weight all of a sudden. It really doesn't matter to me. Like, I don't know. People have said so many things about me. I'm like, that's literally the last thing that would bother me. But yeah, thank you guys for wanting to come to my aid and encourage me. You guys are literally the best. Someone says you can meet him at the supermarket or at a coffee house. Yeah, absolutely. I think actually the way that my parents met is actually very cool. So there's something called the Feast of Tabernacles, which is a feast or a holiday in Israel. And there's a place called ICEJ. And my dad was at this event called the Feast, which they do every year for this holiday, as a dancer. And so it's like classical modern dancing. And my mother was a makeup artist. But my dad actually met my grandmother, so my mom's mom, before he met my mother. And she sort of, they were in the same congregation, and my grandmother sort of looked at him and sort of thought that he should meet my mother. And she said to him one day, like, have you met my daughter? And even without like saying her name, he felt this like boom, like this impact on him. He would call it the Holy Spirit. That's the way that he would describe it. But like this impact so strongly on him that he sort of like was like pushed back to like to the wall. And he was like, I don't know who that is, but that person is like, something happened here. And then they met at the Feast of Tabernacles. So my dad was a dancer, my mom was a makeup artist, and they were doing stage makeup. And they were waiting in line to have their makeup done for the stage. And my dad sat at my mom's sort of like makeup chair. And that's how they met. And within 6 months, they were married. I think they dated for like 3 months. got engaged, got married, and that's the story of it. And my dad was actually not like, my dad's not Jewish at all. The way that he got to Israel is actually, I don't know the whole story as far as like if he had like a love for Israel already, but he had this like cabin in the woods somewhere, and he heard God's audible voice tell him, "You're going to live in Israel forever." And I'm not entirely sure if he understood at the time what that meant, but he basically sold everything that he had and moved to Israel based on that audible word from God. And he met my mom, and he has lived here ever since until he passed away almost 3 years ago, and he's buried here, and so he literally just sold everything that he had and came here. And so I believe that God has a destiny for people. This is my faith, and that he connects people. We do have free will, right? Like I don't believe that if it didn't work out with this person, then it's no person on earth. I believe that we have free will of who we choose. But I do believe that God sees different people and how they can connect, and he's very strategic about that. And so, that's how they met. And I'd hope that in whatever way God meets me with my husband, that it'll be a story that we can be proud of, a story that shows how strategic God is and how much he cares. And I also have to remember that I'm in the middle of the story now, right? Like where we are with our stories is like we can often, we get discouraged because we're in the middle of it. But if you only just flip the pages and continue to flip the pages, then you'll realize just how well the story is going to end. But if you get discouraged in the middle, then you won't be able to see that. And so I'm trying to I'm just trying to believe that that's going to be a thing for me. We're coming up to about an hour, and I love being with you guys. I hope that all the comments haven't deterred you guys from staying here. I don't want to close the comments completely, because the whole point was to be able to connect with the people on my YouTube that actually want to be here and are subscribers. Yeah, I hope you guys weren't deterred from the people that were negative on this. Hi David Lear, I'm so happy to see you here. Ivana says, patience is a blessing. Sometimes the best things happen later in life. I believe that too. I think that I'm probably much more well equipped to deal with marriage now than I would be in my 20s. So I think that that's definitely a thing, probably a blessing in disguise. And also, like, I don't know, I think that you just don't know what's going to happen in life and for what reasons. But yeah, I see a lot of hi Running Man, I'm just coming up to your comments. I don't know if you were the person before that said that they were high or not, but I really do bless you. Like I'm not against you, and I don't know if anyone has ever told you that they love you or that they value the fact that you're alive, but I want you to know that I do. I know you probably don't value my life that much according to your comments, but just know that I believe that God loves you, and I hope that you that you receive that love, a type of love that is healing for you. We're coming up to an hour, so I think I'm going to end this chat. I'm so grateful for all of you here, and yeah, you guys are just wonderful. So I bless every single negative person on this chat. I pray that you are blessed, and that hopefully we can talk one day with honor and respect. And for all of you guys that are here, because you're positive people, I love you guys so much. I'm very grateful for you, and hopefully we can do this again. And if I can try and figure it out, we can do it without the negative people on here. But yeah, I'm very happy that you guys are here, and I'm gonna say goodbye, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Let's see how I end this live. Not that way, this way. Okay, love you guys, bye.